When we went to Alabama in the summer, we had code words for Grandma and Grandpa. If we said we're going to Grandma's house, that always meant Camp Hill, Alabama, visiting Grandma and Grandpa Rogers. And we called that Grandma's house. The other code word is if we went to Daviston, Alabama, we went to Granddaddy's house. And we didn't confuse them. If we said we're going to Grandma's, that meant Camp Hill. If we said we're going to Granddaddy's, that meant we're going to Daviston. Well, this is one of my first pictures of my first recollections of Grandma, what she looked like. And in this picture, I'm the one on the right, the little guy holding a cat. And this picture was taken when I was 5 or 6 years old. And we're all holding cats because cats were a really big thing at Grandma's house. Here's another picture that I remember of Grandma, and this was taken on their 50th wedding anniversary. And I was a teenager at the time, and I vaguely remember the gathering, lots of old people, lots of relatives pulling my cheek and saying, "Oh, what a fine young man," and that sort of thing. But this picture was taken and it appeared in the papers also, and I do remember that. Well, Grandpa finally passed away, I think in '61, and Grandma moved to our house shortly thereafter. And when she moved to our house, there were a lot of things that she had never seen before. For one, she'd never seen a rotary dial telephone, and so she had a hard time making any calls. Well, she didn't really have anybody to call anyway, but that was one thing she couldn't do because her phone was the crank kind. But one of the funniest things she had never seen before, and this was in the '60s now, she had never seen a television. Now, we grow up with television, and we've always had them, and they're in color. But she'd never seen a television. Now, we had a television. It was one of the early color models, so it wasn't all that good. But Grandma thought everything on television was real. And we couldn't convince her that it wasn't real. Well, shortly after she moved to live with us, I went off to college. But I do remember watching Grandma watch TV. And it was kind of funny to watch her watch TV. We'd sit back there and kind of go, because she would watch Lassie. That was one of her favorite shows. And she thought everything that happened to Lassie was real. "Oh, that poor dog. I sure hope he survives getting hit by a car. Gee, look, he was attacked by a bear. I hope that the Lassie was able to find the little boy that was kidnapped," and on and on and on it goes. And she thought that was really real. But the funniest thing she liked to watch was TV wrestling. She thought everything on TV wrestling was real, and she really liked it, so she would never miss a wrestling show. And she would really get into it. She'd sit on the edge of her seat, and she'd be glued to her screen like this, and she'd kind of point with her nose, and she would get all excited. "Why are they letting him do that to these guys? Look, he's kicking him. Oh my gosh, he just jumped off the ropes and landed on his stomach. Why do they let him do that?" In wrestling, it's always the bad guys versus the good guys. And of course, she always rooted for the good guys, but the good guys didn't always win. And when they lost, she got really sad. "Oh no, I hope he's going to be okay." And of course, he's going to be okay because although a lot of the moves are real, a lot of it is just fake. And the guys don't get hurt. They get up and they go home, and they're with their kids, and they made their money, and everything's fine. But you couldn't convince Grandma that it wasn't real, and it was sure fun to watch her because she had never seen a TV before, and she thought everything on it was real. Now, I don't remember what she said about Gunsmoke and some of the old westerns, because my dad liked to watch those. And I kind of wonder, well, did she think that was real too? I don't know. Maybe she did, because the place she was from was pretty backward. But that's how I remember Grandma. She passed away when she was 84, and I was away at college when that happened. And she enjoyed her last years living with us and watching TV.